John Stamos has arrived. Here he is. The stars are just like us, no driver. John, welcome, by the way. Who are you wearing?
Security.
This is great. He's instantly regretting coming on the show. Now let's run up to him here. Hollywood icon has arrived. And again, welcome. You look gorgeous.
Thanks. I'm not really dressed.
Well, John, are you ready to get started and get into hair and makeup before we get to the show?
Let's do it.
All right, John Stamos, come on.
From a warehouse in Van Nuys, it's Friend and High Places. And now, here's your host, Matt Friend.
My first guest today is not only one of Hollywood's most iconic actors in its history. You know him from Full House. He has an amazing, relatively new memoir out called If You Would Have Told Me. He's also, I think I could say, my mentor and the kindest guy in Hollywood. The sexy, the great John Stamos is here. John Stamos.
I'm so happy.
John, thank you so much for doing
Congratulations
this.
for this show. It's long overdue. I always said you're going to be one of the great interviewer, podcaster guys on the planet.
How long have you said that?
Just today. You told me to say it.
Is it sunny in here?
Okay, smartass. Here we go.
Yeah.
Let's start it off right.
No, but you have so much fame you can pull off the tinted shades.
Let me start by saying I'm so grateful to know you. I think you're so talented. I'm glad that we're friends. It means a lot to me. And I just think you're going to go, that's why I'm, latching on now. I think you're going to go to the top and I'm going to ride your coattails.
Well, am I in the will? Okay, just checking. Now, no, but thank you, John. That means a lot. And I have to say, I'm going to tell everybody how we got to know each other and where we met. Mm-hmm. But as I go on in my career and as I'm meeting people, as you know, Hollywood is a weird place.
Yeah.
But
really?
you have been the nicest guy throughout it all. And you give me so much amazing advice. And
you haven't taken any of it.
That's
Except
correct.
for this. I said, do the podcast with these guys.
That's right.
Bill Maher's company.
The title of your book, If You Would Have Told Me, I'm relating to it because if you would have told me that I could be sitting here interviewing John Stamos, I wouldn't have believed that.
I think you, thank you. It's hard to take compliments, isn't it? You don't have a problem.
Why do you think it's hard to take compliments?
Well, just because I don't know. It's a bad thing to, it's not, if someone's giving you a compliment and you brush it off, like I try to do sometimes, then it's sort of weakens, it weakens they're doing something not, and so thank you, Matt, is what I meant to say.
Yes. Well, John, there's so much I have to cover with you. And let's just talk about how we met. So we met on Grindr.
Okay, yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I remember that picture of you. It was,
I was shirtless.
That's not true.
Yes.
Tell the true story.
No, the true story is I was posting on TikTok early in the pandemic, the Chinese app, and you were one of the first people to find me and discover me.
Well, I think you were doing Howard Stern, right? And then you sort of threw a challenge out there saying, do a side by, what do they call it?
A duet. I did a Howard Stern video, and I asked you a question, and then you replied. I said, as Howard, what is the key to you staying so young? I said, how do you stay so young and sexy, John? And you said, I drink the blood of Rob Lowe.
Yeah, I did say that, yeah.
Yes. What is the key, John, to looking like this? Because you turned 60 last year.
I used to say Lori Loughlin before before she went to prison. So I switched to she likes that joke. I switched to Rob Lowe, and then now I'm back to Lori because she looks so young.
She does. But what is the key? How does John Stamos, you're 60 years old, how do you, John Stamos, look this great at this age?
Well, I don't know. Honestly, I won the lotto with my parents. They were, good-looking folks. I do take, especially the last 9 years, I've taken care of myself. That might have something to do with it.
What's the routine?
I work out. I try to eat well.
You jack off a lot.
Yes. But that doesn't make you young, does it?
No.
Makes you.
If that were the case, John, I'd be 4 years old.
So what are you going to do on this podcast?
I have no idea.
Let's give the listeners and the viewers a little taste of what you're going to do. Your impressions.
Well, do some impressions. I want to learn from people because as I'm coming up now, I'm 25
So I'm the guinea
years old.
pig. Is this going to?
You're the guinea pig.
Is this going to go on the air?
Now this is going to go exclusively on One America News.
When did you start doing impressions?
Are you flipping it on me? I was watching you on the great Josh Peck's podcast, who I love.
Yeah, he's great.
And I love it. And he said that you flip questions sometimes. I'm supposed to be interviewing you, but now you're asking me about me.
People don't, people know me. They don't know me. So when did you start? Was your first Austin Powers or something like that?
Yeah, Austin Powers was the very first one. 4 years old, I watched Austin Powers. That was the thing that did it for me. What did it for you, though? What was the reason you wanted to become an actor? What movie or show?
Oh, gosh. I think my mom said that I wanted to become an actor from the delivery room by the time she got me home. And I was an ugly kid. And that's...
You were not an ugly kid.
I was an ugly baby.
How
And
was John Stamos an ugly baby?
my mom had the blanket that I was wrapped in, she sort of covered my face so the neighbors wouldn't see me.
Are you serious?
Yes, honestly. She said I was very homely looking. And I said, just tell the neighbors that you got a new monkey or something. But she seriously, she did.
We got to get a pic of that. Do we have a pic of John's ugly?
Yeah, can we get a photo of that?
But so I think I always wanted to be an actor. But I was fortunate enough, a friend of my father's was working at Huntington High in Los Angeles. And they said, do you want to come down and see a movie being filmed? And I was like, yeah, cool. Yeah. Didn't know what it was. We showed up. And there was all these trucks and cables, and that was such a trip for me. And then I walked in, there was a big gymnasium, and there was this, which I thought was toilet paper, but I guess it was crepe paper, Hollywood, you know.
Yep.
But they had all this stuff hanging, and it was a dance, and I go, what is this? Quiet. And then places, please, and then all these people came out that were, I think they were supposed to be high schoolers, but they'd look like as old as my dad, and they were dressed up, all greased up and everything. And the director, someone yelled, okay, places, please.
Yep.
And then on the other end, there was this 50s band playing, but they weren't hitting their instruments. I thought that was weird, but I could hear the music.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden, the director's, like, there's a voice from God, said, and action. These two doors kicked open, and it was John Travolta. And I was on the set of Grease. And I go, I want to be that.
My 10th birthday party theme was Grease. Grease Lightning.
My story was better.
It was way better.
I mean,
way longer.
Yeah,
way longer. No one
yeah.
has the attention to pay attention to that whole story, but I enjoyed it.
So I mean, I think I wanted to be actor before that, but seeing that was like, I want to be that. I want to be that.
So you wanted to be Grease Lightning?
I wanted to be John Travolta. I still do.
Yes.
Minus the, whatever that is.
Well, some are saying, John, that one John likes women, the other, we'll cut that too, maybe.
No, but you can maybe do a Scientology joke.
A Scientology joke. Well, you tried to convert me to Scientology when we first met.
That's not true.
That is not true.
But they did with me. I was in an acting class, and there was this hot girl. She said, we're all meeting at this address on Hollywood Boulevard. Come after. And I was working at my dad's restaurant at the time. I said, Dad, I gotta go. So I went, and it was the Scientology building, and
in an early acting class.
Yeah.
How old were you at this point?
I was 17, maybe 16, 17.
And they tried to convert you into Scientology?
So they brought me in there, and there was this guy, and I was they said, come over here, and they have this e-meter where you're holding these two cans. So I started, hello, like doing
Yes.
And there's like, I was doing a Peabody in the Wayback Machine, Sherman and Peabody.
Yep.
And they didn't like that. And then I was just fucking around so much, they said, get out, get go. And they just kind of kicked me out.
Oh my God. So you're telling me that they didn't let you into Scientology because you were messing around too much?
Yeah. You'd think it.
So you were too annoying for Scientology.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. I must have been terrible. So now, I'm an old guy. I've got a lot of stuff. Writing that book was interesting because I always said, no, I'm not going to write a book. No, I'm not going to talk about who I slept with. I'm not that interesting. And then as you're writing it, you go, I work with Simon Davis. Oh, I did this. I was Travolta. So there's all these stories started to come to me when I wrote it.
So we bonded because we have a shared love of old show business.
Yes, yeah.
And you have so many amazing artifacts in your house, Elvis photos, and you have actually my favorite thing in your home, you have Frank Sinatra's old phone book.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so, I thought you were going to say jock or something stupid. But
yes. One of his pubes. Where
and I have Elvis's glasses.
His glasses.
He said his picture.
Where did you get Sinatra's old phone book? This is amazing.
From his coffin. I said,
Okay, you just went into the coffin.
No, I bought it at an auction, but it was,
I did it my way.
It's a trip because you go through that book and you saw it at my house.
Yep.
Although it's missing now. Where is it?
It's in my back pocket.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it was all and I verified it with Tony O, who said,
Tony O.
That's Frank's right.
Tell everybody who Tony O is.
Tony O still is. He's Can I talk?
Nope.
It doesn't matter. So that's that. Yeah, I have fun stuff. But we bonded over olds. And I remember I sat you down. We started listening to, and I have Don Rickles frozen at my house too, which a lot of people don't know.
Yes.
We started listening to, I had this great tape of the Rat Pack. Remember?
Yes.
And one of the Beach Boys, Carl Wilson, he was married to Gina Martin, who was Dean Martin's daughter. And poor Carl was dying of cancer. And Gina got from her dad this cassette tape of the Rat Pack, and nobody had heard it at the time. No, it still never came out as a little cassette, and it was meant to cheer Carl up, and I don't think it did. And then she gave it to me. It was very sweet. So I played you some of that. Do you remember that?
It was fantastic. But wait, tell me about the Sinatra phone book. Where did you buy Sinatra's phone book?
I bought it at an auction, and it was the last item on the it was like a 3-day auction, and I figured, oh, nobody's paying attention, and they weren't. I just put in a lower bid, and I got it. I don't
How much?
$5,000, I think it was.
Oh, just $5,000.
And you know, when Saget was alive, he was looking at
He's
it.
not alive?
Oh yeah, so we should break the news today.
Oh,
Huh?
God.
Bob passed away.
Oh, sorry.
Now he would like that joke.
Okay, good.
He would have done that.
He would love
right?
that.
He would have done that
Absolutely.
joke like 2 days after I died. You know, at least I waited a couple years.
I guess he's not doing a commercial for Hotel Tonight.
If we're real
God,
quiet
that's-
right now, we can hear Bob complaining in heaven. Like,
Okay,
like, this
great.
might see.
I'm going to
He
ask
was
you
the
about Bob
greatest.
in a second.
Okay.
But Sinatra's phone book. You bought
Yes.
it in an auction.
So then Bob was looking at it, and it had Robert Wagner's number in it.
Wow.
So we called him, and Bob said, "Is that, is this your number?" He goes, "Yeah, that was my number." And that was that. He said, where did John get that? How much?
What goes through your mind as you hold Sinatra's phone book? Do you feel like a connection to him?
No, not really.
Great. Who's the craziest phone number in Sinatra's phone book?
He had everybody. Nixon, Dean Martin, Sammy Davis.
You ever try to call those numbers?
He called Sammy Davis Jr. Smokey, and that's how I figured that out. Smokey.
Do you ever try to call one of the numbers? See if anyone picks up?
We called
Robert Wagner.
Called Robert Wagner. My dad was my hero, and your dad is now my hero.
Thank you.
You're welcome. My dad was my hero, and he was. You know how sometimes, like, when you get older, you go, he's just a man.
Yep.
And that never happened. He was always the coolest motherfucker.
It's like me with you, John.
Well, I hope so. He was just the cool. Any room he walked into, he was the coolest.
Your father.
My dad. And so when you have a dad like that, you go like, what do I started making money. I tried to buy him cars. He drove the same car for 30 years. He had an El Camino and just changed the engine in it. I said, what do I do? I'm going to take my dad to Sinatra, and I'm going to, because he loves Sinatra. We would argue about who was better, Frank or Elvis, and he made me listen to Frank, and I said, Dad, you're right, he's so cool. And I made him listen to Elvis, and he said, I don't get it. So I got to take him to this show.
And who is better, Frank or Elvis? Frank Sinatra or Elvis Presley? John Stamos, who's better?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, I like Frank, maybe? I mean,
Okay.
no, but I love
Beach
Elvis.
Boys?
I do the voice, if you ever go to Graceland, I do the, over here, there's a thing over
You
there.
do the voice of
Yeah.
Graceland.
Yeah.
I got to ask you about this too, but hang on. Let me ask you about Sinatra.
Let's-
So
yeah.
there's a famous photo of you met Frank Sinatra.
Yes, yeah.
What was that like?
Well, it was all about taking my dad there, and we tried so hard to get back. I really wanted to introduce him to Frank. I thought that was the great gift I could give him, because, and so made all the calls, we did everything, and they said, if Frank wants to meet you, you'll know. I'm like, well, I'm gonna know.
Who said that?
The press agent or whoever
Okay.
it was. And I was like, how are we gonna, So we go, and I didn't know Rickles at the time. I mean, I'd met him a couple times over the years, but I didn't know him.
And you were like 20 years old, right?
No, I was a little older, like maybe mid-20s.
Okay.
I was dating Paula Abdul at the time, which was
Same. That's exactly what I'm doing
were
in my
too?
mid-20s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she was fantastic. So we went, and so Rickles goes on, and he's great, and then it's intermission, and then I get a little poke on the shoulder from Tony O, actually said, Mr. Sinatra will meet you now. Yeah. He's a little short guy. He's great. And we go back. Now, by this point, my mom was into a couple of wines, right? Maybe 17. And she had this great story about
17 wines. John Stamos' mother, a real champion.
she liked to drink, but and so she always had this story that on her honeymoon with my dad, he was upstairs taking a nap. They were going to see Rickles. Crazy story. She's downstairs in the bar, just, hanging around. Sinatra and Julie Rizzo come up. No, it wasn't Julie Rizzo. Somebody else. Sinatra and Toots Shore.
Okay.
No, your audience just turned us off.
No,
That-
no.
Um,
I have a Milton Berle crowd here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So Frank comes over to her and buys her a drink, and then
Buys your mother a drink.
Buys my mother a
so
drink.
Frank Sinatra buys your mother a drink.
Then I believe she's been telling the story forever, and I believe it because my mom was, very pretty. And she said, and then he says, "What are you doing later?" And she goes, "I'm a married woman. I just got married. My husband's upstairs. Well, can I have a kiss?" And she's like, "No, you cannot
Sinatra asked
kiss
your
me."
mother for a kiss?
Yeah. And she said no. So now we're at flash forward to the the 90s, and we're at this concert, and Tony O says, "Come backstage." We go backstage, and out he walks, and he was it was like, whoa, he was
Like
Frank.
the room stopped.
The world stopped, and I was
Yeah.
like, oh my god.
And he was in a tuxedo.
He was in a tux. He was walking to the stage,
Yes.
and he's sort of we have pictures. He's sort of bossing the camera woman, sort of this way, do this. He's pointing and all.
Is your heart racing?
Yeah, but the thing was, we took a picture. I said, "Dad," it was a group. I said, "Dad, come here," and he goes, "No, that's okay." And he's just standing there. Now, and I saw Sinatra look at him, and either in his mind was going, "You motherfucker, Stamos' father, you'll never get another chance," or "You are the coolest motherfucker to stand back and not get a picture with me." I think it was that. And we took the picture, and it was beautiful. And so We go out to the audience. Oh, no. So Frank starts walking to the stage. Okay, thank you. He was very nice. Not overly, talkative, but he was getting ready to go on.
Yep.
He's walking right
Moments
to the stage.
after the photo.
My mom goes running after him. Frank, remember you wanted to kiss me? Okay, kiss me now. You can. Chili Rizzo grabs her by the waist.
God.
And I swear to God, I thought, that's it. That's my mom. She's going to get killed.
Yes.
He didn't kill her, but... So we go out, we watch Frank, and it was one of these moments, I hope you have this with your father, where we're watching this genius on stage. And there's a thing about him, too, that makes him different from a lot of the others. And Elvis had this, too. They gave it their all. Every time they were on stage. It was like the first time. It was like they had to get, what's the baseball term when you knock it out of the
Home
park?
run. Yeah.
They had to get a home run. And at every moment, he was giving everything. And my dad and I were just looking, and I remember seeing my dad get a little teary, which I'd never saw him, and I was getting a little emotional. And we kind of looked at each other, and then we kind of looked away, Show ends, Rickles goes out, and he takes cards like that, and he introduces everybody in the audience, celebrities, Tony Danza, and so-and-so here, and John Stamos, and I was kind of like embarrassed because then Tony Danza was there. We have a story about him. And so he says, well, Rickles says, grabs the mic. He says, well, he's probably in the grass, the cheap seat's in the grass. In fact, he's probably smoking grass. Sinatra grabs the mic from Rickles and says, smoke one for me, Johnny. I said, that's it. I think I paid my dad back.
So you're in your mid-20s, and Frank Sinatra says, smoke one for me, Johnny.
Just like that.
And what was going through your mind, truly, when
I just
that
looked
happened?
at my
Did you
dad.
black out?
No, I was just like, you see that? I'm Johnny. I don't smoke pot, Dad, but
And you're dating Paula Abdul.
Yeah, she was a lot of fun.
Was she upset that you didn't invite her to that?
Today?
No, to the
She was
today.
there.
Oh, today. Oh, she's our next guest. Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
She's great.
We got her and Rebecca Romaine on, right?
Okay, John. So
Are you going to throw in the impressions during the interview like
it's
this?
kind of a personality.
Because I think you should do it.
You think I should? You think I'm boring as myself?
What's your best? Can you teach me an impression?
Well, you do a famous, you do a Sammy Davis Jr. impression, right?
And you don't.
Look, let me hear a little Sammy Davis Jr., John.
My voice is so...
Come on, John, a little bit now. Come on, John.
So I'm 18 on General Hospital. And they say, oh, Sammy Davis Jr. is coming on the show. And I'm like, who? My dad, I'm like, who's the Sammy Davis guy? Made me listen to him. I was like, oh, wow. Go on the show. I said, what do I talk to him about? And he said, well, he's a musician and he plays drums. Talk to him about that. Great. We go on the thing, and my character, Blackie, is playing, he's the host of a benefit at the waterfront.
Yes.
And Sammy was playing one of the guys on there's father. And I am to introduce him. Anyway, so I'm talking, I said, Mr. Dave, and there was a full band setup, but they wouldn't let me play drums, and his guys were playing. And I said, Mr. Davis Jr., I play drums. And they won't let me play on here.
There it was.
And we talked for a minute. And as I was writing the book, I was really trying to figure out what made him do this. But I think he understood that I understood music. We had a little conversation about music.
Yes.
So hold on a minute. He goes back to the producer's booth, to
Sneaking
Gloria
out there a
Monty.
little bit.
And then he comes and he says, and I'll never forget it. He was very firm. He goes, just do what I say, man. I'm like, what? Just do what I say.
Just do what I say, man.
Yeah.
The candy man can.
You can't.
I can't.
So,
The candy man can, cause he mixes it with love, makes the world go world.
you're a pretty good singer, too.
Thank you.
So we do the scene, and I go, here's so-and-so. And he gets up and he goes, hey, man, he talks about whatever. And he says, Blackie, you play drums, right? And I'm like, and they cut to me, and I'm like, because it was completely ad-lib. And I go, yeah. And he goes, get up here. And I get up there, and he starts playing piano. Boom. He counts me out, 2. We do a little jazz. I'm like, sure. And then we're looking at each other, I'm blowing a solo and stuff. And I'm telling you, that moment was a defining moment in my life.
Oh.
From that moment on, I
Crazy.
played music on everything, but it was like the sage, passing on to like what we're doing now, passing on to the young boys. And it was just a moment of I'll just never forget it.
So
And he gave me a hug, and
You had encounters with most of the Rat Pack.
Dean, I met Dean too.
You met Dean. How'd you meet Dean Martin?
So I was leaving the show, General Hospital, and Gloria Monty said, why are you leaving, Darren? So we got to go to lunch, okay? Sitting there, and Dean Martin's sitting across the way. Now, I'm like, whoa. I didn't really know him, actually. He was very old, and he had these big square glasses, like there were,
Gray hair.
windows or something. Yeah. And it was really interesting, and I'm going to start using this, because he was sitting by himself, but he had it set up for 2 people, as if someone was coming, so people wouldn't come and, join him or whatever. Gloria says, why are you leaving there? Well, I want to be funny, Gloria. I want to do a sitcom. And then Mr. Martin, and so Gloria says, can I introduce John to Mr. Martin.
Yep.
And he said, well, the manager says, let me go see. And he goes to talk to him. He goes, oh, yes, he loves his daughter, Gina, who we knew. I go over, and Gloria says to him, Mr. Martin is John Stamos. He's on my show, and he wants to leave. What kind of advice will you give him?
Yes.
I mean, shouldn't he stay and do what he does? Dean goes, run.
Oh, my
She
God.
got pissed off. And when I said, I got to go, she said, you'll never work in this town again. I said, I think I might. I think I probably.
That is amazing.
Yeah. And then years later, when I went to see Sammy at the Greek, and he had cancer, he was dying.
Hi.
And he
That one's sad.
and the hug was different this time because on the show he gave me this.
You hugged him and you killed him. Yeah.
That was he was very frail.
Squeezed him tight. So
And I hugged him. Sorry, I'm not letting you ask the questions. There's a reason because you're boring.
terrible. Yeah. So you have all, you're like, do someone else or I'm leaving.
Yeah.
So you have all these amazing stories that you've assembled throughout a 40+ long career in Hollywood.
Yes.
Were you journaling as a kid? Because you've told me to write everything down.
Yeah.
So were you, when the Dean Martin moment would happen, or when you met Sammy Davis Jr., or any number of these things, did you go home and write it all down? Or how did you have this inventory of all these stories?
That's a good question. I remember a lot of them. Those ones you don't forget, But my mother, and I remember saying to her when she died about almost 10 years now, but she kept everything, kept every contract, every calendar, every journal. I did journal some stuff back then. Every teen magazine, every date that I did anything. So I remember saying to my mom, like, what are you keeping all this crap for? And then I go to write the book. I go, oh, that's why she kept it. So that was helpful. And then your stuff comes out from seeing pictures and stuff.
Yes.
The last time I saw Sammy, though, I'll just tell you real fast because, so I saw him, and he comes over. He says, "Come over to the bar." We go to the bar, and he orders a Orange Crush for both of us. Orange Crush. And I said, and he goes, he said, "The cigs and the dope I don't miss. The booze I miss."
Oh my God, John. It's like you're really here.
That's a combination of Sammy and Frank Underwood.
Me?
Yeah.
That
which you
is an
just did.
amazing story.
Teach me how to do an impression. Like, seriously, though.
Okay. Let's start with, let's do one of our favorites. Right.
That's,
So this one's a very fun one to do.
but you do it. Do you do him better than
Well, thank you
anybody
very
on the
much.
planet?
Well, let me set it up. So I've been going on Howard Stern's show, and this didn't happen by magic. I was doing the impression for a long time, and I think the thing that put it over the edge was,
This set is beautiful.
thank you, John Stamos sent my impression to Howard.
I did.
Take it over, John.
Well, that's it. And then they had you on there a couple times. You never gave me credit.
I think
And
I have.
I don't do it for the credit.
I think
but
I have.
kind of do it.
I think I've given you credit. Yeah,
It's
you're the
not really
Susan, you're the
about
Simon Cowell to my Susan Boyle, baby.
That's good.
Yeah.
Can you sing?
And talk about your relationship with Howard. I mean, you were in private parts.
Right. Well,
Right.
I knew him before. I remember going on the show when nobody was, it was dangerous to go on.
Like this right now. Yeah.
This is not so dangerous. I mean, danger of falling asleep.
Great. Yeah. I went on Howard's show about a month and a half ago, and Howard said, I don't understand this relationship with John Stamos. Right. Because does he not know that you're not me? He's
Right.
inviting the fake Howard. You're not me.
Yeah.
Why is John Stamos inviting you to his house?
That's a good question.
I've never been to John Stamos' house.
Yeah,
So what's the explanation, John?
Were you?
Yeah, why am I going to your house? I'm not
You showed
Howard.
up.
I just showed up. Yeah.
You hit me up and you said, "Hey, I'm in town. You want to get together? You want to?"
Yes.
I said no.
Yes.
And then you got my address from the Hollywood.
I looked it up.
Stars, the
It was a
maps. Yeah, this
TMZ
isn't good.
bus tour.
Now,
Yeah.
I thought you were. I have a pretty good, intuition on people,
Well-
and I thought you'd be cool. You came over. We made pizza.
The first time I went to your house, this is a great story. First time I went to your house, John, I showed up with a backpack. And I arrived
Yes,
early.
right,
I'm
right, yes.
freaking out. I'm nervous.
You are?
I'm arriving to this big star's house, looked up to you a long time for at least 20 days before that meeting.
Right.
And I get there and I show up with my bag and
Yes.
one of your neighbors alerts you.
Right.
Your gated
Well,
community.
they thought you were a bomber.
Exactly. John's neighbors thought I was going to kill him.
Some guy. There's a Unibomber.
up with a backpack.
I have a backpack. I look
Yeah.
like a crazy person.
It was
So
great.
I get there, and then we made a pizza. Where did your obsession with creating pizzas from? John Stamos, you have a beautiful pizza oven called, what's it called? Pizzeria Stamos.
Pizza oven.
Jimmy Kimmel makes pizzas.
Jimmy,
you make
turned me on to
pizzas.
that actual thing. I just like I like people. I like family. I come from that, and I like to have people around. We like to cook. We like to have friends over. We like to play
Family porn,
music.
right? That's your fetish.
No, but why is
Got it.
every not that I look, but it's all about it's all this
Not that I like.
Stepkids.
a lot of step how do you know
Yeah.
a lot of step kids. Why is that a thing now? Like who wants to?
I don't know, John.
But it's also like
Full House probably had something to do with it.
no.
Okay.
There's
got it.
there is a Full House porn Do you know that? And I think it's called.
Wait, there's,
Yeah.
there's a Full House
How
porn
could there not
parody?
be? Yeah.
Have you seen it?
Yes. I'm in it. What do you mean seen it? No,
Yeah,
kidding.
you're the star, man.
No,
yeah.
No, there really
Stars,
is.
where are they now?
We gotta pull up that thumbnail for
Yeah,
the Full
that's
House
right.
porn.
I think it's called.
You're in
I
it.
don't know what it's called. Full blouse or something. No, it's called full. But it's really funny.
There's a great one with the star Lisa Ann where she plays Sarah Palin. It's called Who's Nailing Palin?
All right.
That's
When did you start? You know, I was listening to Trump. I saw something of him when he was younger. And
Yes.
he was the way he talked. There's so many. There's about 9 Trumps you could do, huh?
There's a lot of Trumps. Did you do a Trump?
No. But I saw him. You know, so he came to. I was doing cabaret on Broadway, and he came to the show.
I was going to ask you.
Wrote me a nice telegram. It was very sweet. Me and Melania loved you. And then every time I saw him after that, did you get the telegram? Wasn't it the best telegram? Just like he is now. Do that. Like,
Did you get the telegram,
yeah.
John?
Does anyone else send
You
you?
were great in Cabaret, Vilcom and Bramvenue, right?
Yeah.
Great lyrics.
Yeah.
I wrote them.
I'm told the Jews don't lie.
Wait, so Trump came to see you at Cabaret?
Mhm.
And then he was asking you if you got his memo.
Yeah, he said if I got his telegram, and then he said no one else sends you telegrams. I said, well, sorry,
I send the best telegrams,
yeah, no
John.
one's, yeah, that whole thing. But
You
it was
were
nice
great.
that came.
Jesse was my real uncle. I
You
knew
know-
him very well.
He
So-
was at Howard's wedding to Beth,
Oh, my God.
and I saw him there too. But I think I sort of just kind of tried to avoid him because
I've got to ask you, so you've done so much live theater, Bye Bye Birdie, Cabaret.
Mhm.
You talked about the magic of being on stage in New York. Everybody goes on at the same time, 8
Yeah.
p.m.
Yeah.
I do stand-up. So why do you think that live performing is so special as compared to your huge list of work in film and TV? What is it about live that's so great?
well, terrible question, but
Okay.
I mean, who cares?
I'm going to just go kill myself. Yeah.
I'm kidding. I got to tease you a little bit, otherwise.
That's great.
I'm afraid of being like straight and serious. I got to get over that.
Well, you're
It can
definitely
be
not
fun.
straight.
Yeah,
Tell you that much.
I just teed you up, didn't I?
You definitely did.
There's a magic. There's a spark, like especially in New York because you comics go on at different times and
Yes,
everything.
yes.
And when we're shooting television, even live shows with the Beach Boys, like you're on at different times. 8 o'clock, you know, all the entertainers are gearing up to entertain, and everybody around those 8-block radius, everybody's getting ready to be entertained. So
Yes.
right at 8 o'clock, there's no other entertainment that does it.
Magic.
It goes bam, you feel this spark, you know, places, blah, 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 and there's nothing like it. And I've done pretty well out there. I've also, I have failed a couple times. I did 9. I replaced Antonio Banderas,
Oh.
and I went to the previews for a few weeks before it opened, and they're just working stuff out usually, so it was like the first couple shows ever.
Yep.
And I'm watching and I'm going, oh my God, this guy's, I don't even understand a word he says. Not much of a singer. He's missing the jokes. And I knew it was the Roundabout Theater, and I'd worked with them on Cabaret. So they're going to ask me to replace him. And I'm telling John, tell yourself right now, no. A year comes up, they ask me to replace him. I said, yeah, sure, I'd love to. But I thought, well, he was terrible. I'm going to kill.
Yep.
I get into New York, start rehearsals. I said, can I go? I'm going to see the show. And I sit in the back, and all of a sudden, and I drive down the street, first of all, and there was like packed. You couldn't walk. You couldn't get a ticket. I go, is the president in town? What's it? No. And the driver goes, no, like it was a rich, creamy soup.
Yep.
No, Antonio Banderas.
Antonio Banderas is pushing boards.
Yeah.
See?
I go, what? Antonio. I was like,
Pushing
Antonio.
boards.
Okay. I sit in there, and he comes out, and he's fucking great. And the place goes crazy. He sings great. I'm like, oh my God, what am I doing? And I wasn't, I didn't deliver on that one. But that's where you learn, That's
Like
where
me
you,
with this podcast. Now, John, you're my mentor, I could say, right? I can say that?
I'm flattered, I hope.
I view you as my mentor.
Okay. No, I do. Look,
But
I had great mentors.
I was going to ask.
I had, Gary
Well,
Marshall.
Can I set up
was-
the question?
Yeah. That laugh you do is very close to, what's his name, who just got fired, who was fired from Fox,
Oh, Tucker?
Yeah, like
Good evening and welcome to Tucker Carlson tonight.
Yeah, like he's getting a
yeah, thumb up
prostate.
the asshole, yeah.
You haven't had that yet, have you?
Only after you came to my show.
That's how you got this job.
That's right. No, but John, so you're my mentor. I think that's safe to say, right?
What do I get out of it? I'm just wondering.
A podcast appearance for
Okay,
40
great.
people to watch.
Great.
But John, you had some amazing mentors
Yes.
in your life. Can you talk about that? Don Rickles, you were close with.
The first one was Jack Klugman, who probably you guys don't know, but he was
Jack Klugman.
the Odd Couple.
Does very well on TikTok. Jack Klugman references. Yeah.
And my dad passed away right after that, so I was always sort of gravitating towards older gentlemen that don't get funny about anything.
Yeah.
And then so that, and Gary Marshall was one who was a great mentor to me. In fact, he got me on a Full House.
Gary Marshall got you into Full House.
I was working on this show, sitcom with Jack Klugman, and Jack would make me sit in the writer's room on Thursday nights and just to learn structure and jokes, setups and stuff. And I'd sit in the corner, and Gary, and once a week, Gary Marshall, Harvey Miller, Jerry Belson, these titans of comedy. And so that's how I knew Gary. And then Miller and Boyette, who he'd worked with, was doing the show Full House, and he said, "Do you play guitar?" I said, "Yeah, I play a little guitar." "All right, I got some, And so I get the job, and they said, "Come up with a catchphrase." Fonzie had a. That's where "Have Mercy" came out of that.
Wait, what?
Of all the catchphrases too, like I think "Have Mercy" is a good one because, people scream it all the time.
Yes.
And
Do you like having a catchphrase?
I like that it's not like "Who farted" or something.
When you were dating, like when you were in your dating life,
Now we're getting
a young
come on,
John Stamos. When you were in your dating life, right? No, but when you were dating John, were there any dates that asked you to just whip out a catchphrase?
No.
Never happened.
No, I had somebody.
So, a young John Stamos that never said, "Just give me a little "Have Mercy" in the sack."
No, I would have, but nobody had it.
Well, that's okay, John, because
Yeah.
now it's time for a little segment. John Stamos, you are arguably one of the most attractive men in the history of Hollywood. I'd like to play a little game called Hotter Than Stamos, where we ask you, John Stamos, if you think you are hotter than the following
I'm gonna
celebrity
say
actors.
no.
Well, let's see how you do.
All right.
Okay,
Throw it.
starting off
Yes,
right here.
hotter. Okay, you missed it.
You're hotter than Timothy Chalamet?
No.
No? Okay.
Let me tell you something about Timothy Chalamet or some of these young actors. I'm the opposite of these guys. When these guys came out of him, DiCaprio, Jennifer Lawrence, they were great right out of the thing. Other actors, it takes 25, 30 years. That's the category I'm in.
Okay, great. So you're not hotter than Timothy.
Well, that's
okay.
dumb. I'm hotter than him.
Okay. Are you you're hotter than a younger version of you?
Is that me?
Yes, that is you. You think you've aged well? You like a fine wine?
I don't know. It's these questions, about aging.
Okay,
I
great.
want to tell you a funny story about that.
You'll tell me in a second, Sydney Sweeney.
No way. She's beautiful.
Okay.
I went to the premiere of White Lotus. My friend Mike White asked me to go. I said, "Why?"
He didn't ask you to be in the cast, though?
Exactly.
That's great.
And
Anyways.
he brought her over and said, "Oh, she really wants to meet you."
Glenn Powell.
He's beautiful. He's my buddy. The first...
But are you hotter than him?
No. We met on Screen
You're so
Queens,
humble, John.
And we had the first thing I had to do was do a shower scene with this guy.
With Glenn Powell?
Yeah. And so I worked out as much as I could, and I think, I'm gonna show this guy up. He walks in onto this stage like God sent Zeus down to just embarrass me. And then he goes, "Well, follow me." He goes into the makeup chair and he's standing there. He's got like 3 girls spraying his butt with, tanning and his taint and everything. I go, I said to him like, "Do you remember this great story about Laurence Olivier and Dustin Hoffman in Marathon Man, where Dustin Hoffman shows up and he's all haggard and Sir Laurence Olivier said, what do you do?" I'm into the part, man. I haven't slept in weeks. I haven't taken a shower." And Sir Laurence Olivier says to him, "Why don't you just act, dear?" And that's what I said to Powell. I said, "You don't have to do all these push-ups. Just act the muscles."
Yeah. Okay. Well, I
So
guess
no, I'm not
you're hotter
hotter
than
than
Glenn.
him. No,
Okay,
no.
good.
Well,
Ryan Reynolds.
what's you tell me? What's hot? I mean, he's
got a.
he's smart.
You both have like a kind of a funny charisma that adds an extra layer to the sexy appeal.
Right.
But you're the one being interviewed. Are you hotter than Ryan Reynolds?
No,
Okay.
I'm not. I'm certainly not richer.
Okay.
No, Brad Pitt. No.
Brad Pitt. You're being very humble, John.
Well, come on. I mean, this is a dumb thing. No, Clooney. No.
Clooney. Okay.
He was always nice to me. He was a good guy, Clooney.
Okay. And okay.
No, Rob Lowe. No.
Rob Lowe.
This is
And finally,
Yes, Jennifer Aniston.
Jennifer Aniston. Okay, John Stamos is not only he's attractive, but he is humble.
I was trying,
My balls are being very squeezed in this chair here. Very tight suit.
Yeah, this is a good story. The old picture you showed me I was giving.
Should I move these?
No, they're okay there. I mean,
What camera's pointing to the floor?
I have no idea. Go ahead.
That's
Sorry.
fine.
Yeah.
Have you ever been on camera? This
Nope,
is new
never.
thing for you.
Yeah. Only in the Full House porn parody.
We got to find it. Did you look for it?
I'm gonna find
Is he
it.
going to be part of the show?
I'm
we talked to
100%
Chris.
watching
We
it.
talked
Yeah,
to Chris offline. Okay,
Maybe.
Yeah.
Well, I have a question for you.
So we had a little trouble getting pregnant, my wife and I, Caitlin. And so I had
me.
Huh?
Just think of me. It helps.
That was the problem.
Okay.
I could hear your voice in my ear.
Okay, great. Yeah.
So I had to get my sperm checked, right? Have you ever done that?
You have my sperm checked?
Yeah.
At the ripe age of 25, not yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. Who knows with you? And I went to the gas station, which is weird. Why would I do it at the gas station? But I did. No, I'm kidding. It was one of those places, and it was just like right out of the movies or something. You're very uncomfortable going to these situations. I'm sitting in this room with other guys. I'm like, come here often? You know, like, nobody got it. You know? And the nurse goes, okay. And I think she called me. I don't know. I was using a pseudonym or something, and she didn't use it. Mr. Stamos, come on. I'm like, oh fuck. And I had him. She goes, oh, here it is. And she's showing me the room, and she said, you know, here's the lube. I said, I don't need any lube. It looked like condiments in a big glass thing. And here's the porn. I don't need no stinking porn. You know. I sit down and I could start going, and I could hear them talking about Game of Thrones. That's where it was. They were talking about the brother and sister having sex on Game of Thrones or something like that. You figured these things would be soundproof.
Yes.
So then I'm trying to figure out. It's like, okay, where's the lube? And I spill it all over the place. I'm trying to, silly. I turn on the TV. I swear to God, this is the absolute truth. I turn the TV on, and I'm going through the porn. There's like, shaving Ryan's privates and all that stuff. And I'm going there, and I turn you get it? And I turn the TV on. My hand to God, someone was watching Netflix earlier, and the title screen was Fuller House. Oh. Big thing. And I thought, if I'm going to jerk off to myself, it's going to be the old Uncle Jesse, not this new Fuller House stuff.
Is that?
Sorry.
That's amazing. Are you aware of that? You know, like that there's a lot of people whenever you go to a restaurant or whenever you're at a premiere or even at a hotel, that a large number of the people there maybe were awakened sexually by John Stamos.
No, I never thought about that. But it's weird to think that, right? Like that, maybe not girls, but I've had guys, you were my first
mainly
crush.
Guys say it to you?
Well, girls don't. Guys used to hate me. They all wanted to beat me up. Now they don't. Now I can't.
Guys wanted to hate you because they wanted to be you.
Well, I don't know. No, I think because their girlfriends, were doing something. But this is all superficial. None of this really matters about the looks and the things. It's what you have inside. It's your heart. And people were so good to me. I am so blessed. I'm so grateful for my life and my career that when I get a chance to highlight someone like you, if I can, it's the universe telling me, it's payback time,
Well, speaking of a good heart, I want to talk about your relationship with Bob Saget, because he's another one of my comedic.
Did you ever meet him?
I never met him, sadly.
Mike Binder said when he saw you do stand-up that in fact, the other night when we came to see you at the cemetery when you were dying, Chris, you were there. Binder leaned over me and said, he's like a young Saget. And that's a great compliment. I miss Bob, man.
And you disagreed completely.
No. No, you do have it. You're tall like him and you're Jewish. He was so fast. He was
not funny.
Fast.
Sadly,
He was so fast too, those guys.
No, but
I loved stand-up comedy, and I would study I could never do it.
Were there any particularly memorable comedic moments offset that you've never talked about with Bob on Full House? Like a crew member is walking by, he'd make a joke or...
Well, in the beginning, we didn't get along because that's all he cared about was making the crew laugh. I'm like, put it in the show, but he had comedy Tourette's. He couldn't stop. He could, sort of like you. It was just boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
He was funnier, but...
Yeah, that's great.
I'm kidding. He just could, and it was disruptive, really. And I came from...
Sorry, go ahead.
He would do that. His stuff was really, dirty.
Yeah, like him at Dangerfields is the funniest stuff I've ever seen. Because it's so unexpected. And I remember the first time I watched Bob do stand-up, I grew up knowing Full House, and then I was discovering comedians on YouTube, and then I saw That Ain't Right, his special.
Right.
And I was like, what is happening?
Right. I think that was the special where he talked about
That Ain't
having
Right.
sex with me in the ass or something.
Yeah, something.
Well, he had a song. He had a couple of songs.
It is the funniest special ever, I think.
Yeah, he was so brilliant. There's a story on there so it was his 50th birthday, I think it was. And over the years, we've thrown each other big parties. I mean, I would for his 60th, I threw him this lavish party. It cost me about $60,000, $70,000. For my big birthday at 55, I think it was, he took me to wings and things. I mean, it was literally nothing. I'm not kidding. I was like, you buy me chicken wings on my birthday?
Yeah,
we went to the smokehouse. That's what it was. So, where were we? Oh, so it was his 50th birthday, and I set up this big thing in Vegas. We got this big room, bowling alley, and all this stuff. And I was going to meet them in Vegas. I couldn't go fly with them. So Dave brings a picture of me.
Dave Coulier
brings a picture of me, and so they go to pick up Bob in the limo. Dave is completely naked, and he's cut a hole out of my mouth, of my headshot.
Oh my God.
And so someone takes a picture of the 8x10 with Dave's wiener coming out of my mouth. Hand to God. So I
Different
meet
time.
them. I'm in Vegas already. They pull up to the hotel and say, "Hey guys," and Dave hands me the picture. So you got to I grab my 8x10, stick my tongue through it like this. They start laughing. Then they show me the picture that they took of Dave's dick in my mouth, coming out of my mouth, and I started like spitting like crazy.
Wait, so this is a great story, like, because I've read this famous story of before the first episode of Friends was about to air, and the creator took them all out to Vegas and said, "Remember this, because you'll never be able to walk down the street again."
Oh, really?
Was there a moment early on where you knew the show was getting traction, Full House, and you thought, my life's about to be different, I might not be able to walk down the street again in the same way?
Well, I was already famous before that show.
But this really leveled you up.
Well, no, well, I guess, yeah. But, I was coming off of a few shows, and I was a teen, I was still in my early 20s, and, it was that.
Paul Abdul meeting Sinatra.
Tiger Beat magazines and all these things, which is a whole, very fascinating world and story. Thank God I made it through. A lot of people don't,
Yeah.
But Dave and I went to Vegas before the show aired.
You and Dave Coulier, before Full House aired, went to Vegas.
And we went to visit the Liberace Museum.
Okay.
And Dave was doing the biggest, gayest voice. He would go, and Liberace, like they had his costumes and stuff, on mannequins. And Dave would go behind the costume and go, "Hi, this is Liberace," do this kind of thing. And I'm like, Dave. Liberace's sister ran the place, and Scott Wyndham had come running over and screaming at us. How could you? And I was like, "Oh, Miss Liberace's sister, I met Liberace once. I was at a party, and I do have a funny picture of me and him." She said, "Get out." He kicked us out of there. So that was wild. I never told anyone that story.
Well, thanks for telling us.
Then we went to see Tom Jones, and Dave...
I'm a sex bomb. You're my sex bomb, and baby, you can turn me on.
Stick with Howard. And
I have to do that legally.
Okay, that's pretty good. Dave develops this thing called the power laugh. Laughs as loud as obnoxious thing. And we get kicked out of Tom Jones, too, for power laughing through the whole thing. Anyway, those are some stories.
Pussycat? Whoa, whoa, whoa.
That's good. So Full
I love to
House
sing,
was
John.
not a hit.
I love to sing.
Full House was not a hit, when it came out, and we were stumbling along.
You wanted to be famous. I've seen you talk about this, where you said you wanted to be famous.
Yeah.
Why did you want to be famous?
Don't you?
Oh.
I was sort of picked on in high school and junior high maybe, and too, and this guy gave me a black, I found out that some girl, the hottest girl, it's right when I was sort of turning from the caterpillar to the butterfly. You haven't reached that yet, but maybe you will. And as I'm coming out, girls started to, and all I wanted was to meet girls,
Yeah.
And this...
To beat or to meet?
What was this guy? To meet
Our
girls.
next guest is P. Diddy. We'll be back in a moment. No, go ahead.
So, right, that's rare.
Right, Robin. But why did you want to be famous? You were saying you wanted to meet
because
girls?
I wanted to meet girls. And this guy, it turns out the girl that wanted to go out with me had a boyfriend.
Oh.
And so he cold cocked me when I was in a car.
He
and I rolled the wood down.
cold-cocked you?
Boom.
Oh, my God.
Give me a black eye.
And
I go, I wanted to dedicate my book to this guy because it just gave me this drive to be famous, to be successful, and be on TV. And that was the thing.
That guy must not be in a good mental state right now.
I hope not. I was going to go see him and go, hey, whatever gas station he's working at, I was going to say, hey, stop cleaning the toilet. Let me talk.
He actually has a podcast with the new network. Yeah.
What's that?
What? No. Yeah.
And just to say, thank you because of you. You really propelled me to reach my goals, my dreams, and kind of to show you up. But now that I'm here, I'm a bigger man now, and thanks for the drive, really. And by the way, the girl that you were dating, that I started dating, she said you were hung like a finch. So fuck off.
Like Succession. Fuck off. Speaking of fuck off, are there any shows now that you think, John Stamos, I want to be in that, like a Succession or a White Lotus? What can fans expect to see of you in the coming years?
Well, I just did some show, I can't announce it was pretty good, where it's getting a large amount. I've been waiting for my Breaking Bad. I think I can, because I come with such goodwill, I can really fool people, for a while and be likable, but not be the best guy. I have a show at Netflix I think is going to do that.
Okay.
It's just the
We're rooting for you.
incredible script. Yeah, thank you. Well, we'll see. But in the meantime, I'm just happy to be on your podcast, and I'm happy for you.
This is your Breaking Bad. What are you talking about?
Being on here?
Yeah. Friend and I Places. This is it.
What's with the blue skies? Is that like a...
You know, we're scrolling. It's something different
No, I like
visually.
it. It's good.
Some people had a theory that it was a reference to Bill being high. Okay.
What's that? That's a good Bill. Does he
Right.
like that? No, huh?
Oh, does Bill like it? What do you think, John?
Who's your favorite comic?
My favorite comic? I mean, I love the old guys, the Dangerfields, the Kinnisons,
You
the
do
Jonathan
Dangerfield?
Wind. I'll tell you, comedy. Do you ever think about doing stand-up?
No. I love it.
You
but I would
could.
never. No, I don't think so.
Speaking of stand-ups, the
I
greats.
love it, though. I watch.
I
I
do-
study you guys.
I do have to ask about Don Rickles because you became very close with Don Rickles. What was
You
a
should
dinner?
start this podcast with a younger person, maybe.
It's okay. What was a dinner? Yeah, we'll have Billy, your son, on next week.
Mhm.
What was dinner with Don Rickles like?
Oh, gosh, It was usually, and sometimes it would just be me and his wife and him. And they had a beautiful love story, which a lot of people don't know.
We can skip that.
You'd
yeah.
say,
Yeah,
you'd say
no one
that-
cares about that.
You'd
yeah.
say, "How you doing?" And they say, "We're good. We're good."
Oh,
Like, you know.
wait. Let me not be an asshole. Hang on. You were
Well,
saying
we'll
they had a
have
beautiful,
to do the whole podcast over.
exactly. Yeah,
Podcast.
they had a beautiful love story.
40 years in the business, and here I am.
He's sitting in a room with clouds.
Yeah.
Some
Cloud
fun guy.
40 years.
Curtains.
Wait, so Rickles and his wife had a beautiful love story.
Yes, and so sometimes I'd be with the two of them, and he'd order cookies, and she'd say, "Don, you can't have the cookies." "No, don't eat the cookies. I'll eat the cookies tomorrow." "John, did I eat the cookies?" "Yeah, you had 4 cookies." "Shut up,"
You'd say,
And then
I give him a cookie, it'd go away.
Yeah, that's what he said to me, right?
Give him John Stamos is here. Give him a cookie, it'll go away.
Yeah, he was something. I think I showed you the video of him speaking at my 50th birthday, right?
Unbelievable.
It was interesting because
It's
he laid everybody
unbelievable.
out in the room, and he just simply got up and just said the most beautiful, great thing about me. in
Because
my
he would
life.
eviscerate people, and then at the end he would say, from the bottom of my heart, John,
Yeah.
I never liked you.
You're going.
And then he
"Schmuck
would
me."
say, but John, the way you are so kind in the business, I wish you nothing but love and health. Like after he just calls you like a Greek fuck or something.
Yeah. It was just an unlikely. It was sort of like Tuesdays with Maury or something. It was just an unlikely friendship. I think we would talk on the phone for hours, like schoolgirls. You know,
Kind of like us.
he really wanted me to be. He really wanted me to fall in love. He really wanted me to meet the right person, and thank God he got to meet Caitlin and Bob. He didn't love comics. Like he would say, you know, and his wife.
Rickles didn't love comics.
Yeah, and I'd say, how about this? That person? No, bring no comics. Bring, and they wanted, you know, I remember saying like, oh, should I bring like Gary Marshall or someone to dinner? They was like, no, bring your younger friends. They wanted to look forward, not backward, which I thought was interesting. But you couldn't compete with him, and these comics would try. But he eventually just fell in love with Bob, and he got to meet Kelly, Bob's wife, and
Kelly
so
Rizzo.
that was good. He would, you know, we'd be in. You know, his wife would sort of chastise. As time went on, you know, his act didn't change.
Rickles, yeah. And that's what made it so great.
Yeah, but I mean,
think.
I don't know how it would play today, honestly. And
Well, after that Tom Brady roast, I think
Yeah.
anything's possible.
no, but he was the, you know, to say that he had a racist bone in his body makes me sick because he didn't. He loved so hard, and I think anybody that didn't get his humor, maybe it was about them, or maybe it was too close. You know,
Is there
Right.
a criteria that you've looked for when dating? Like, is humor important for you?
sense of humor. They don't have to be funny.
Because
They need to
knowing
laugh at
you,
me. And great segue, by the way. We're talking about Rickles.
I know, but
And you know, and
Knowing
but you skipped over.
we're
a
trying
great,
to go viral.
But here's a
Yeah.
great topic. You can go back to the girls.
I'm
in a second.
kidding,
But
yeah.
the topic that you missed was like, could Don Rickles work right today?
Yeah, let me ask that. It was my question.
That's all right.
So, John, here's a question. You were going to just skip over it and go on to dating, but I had a question, John. I don't know why you're flip-flopping and bippity-booping so much, but do you think Don Rickles could succeed as a comedian today?
Well, what do you think? Probably not. Towards the end, he started to get, like he said something about Obama being
Oh,
a
boy.
janitor in the White House. But he truly didn't get.
I will never forget that, John.
Yeah, I thought.
I will never forget that.
And he'd be on Kimmel. Sometimes we'd do it together, or I would play drums and he would be
A
on.
Mau fighter pilot.
Yeah, but he would put the wrong word in front of it, like
Right.
for gay, you know, and it
Yes.
was, and we're at dinner one night, and his wife says, "You got to stop saying that word on stage,"
Uh-huh.
and he said, "I didn't say it," you know. She says, "Yes, you did." "John, did I say it?" I said, "About 5 times." "Shut up," and you know, and then I'd stick him the bill and we'd go. But he didn't. It wasn't from a place of. He wasn't. He didn't have an ounce of hate in his body.
Bob, similarly.
Saget.
Yeah. Obviously, it's pure comedy. I think that's part of what's happening now. Is it Gen Z? I'm Gen Z. I'm a comedian. Like,
Yeah.
we're trying to find the distinction between, you know, comedy and like where that line is.
Right. It moves all the time too.
It does
which is
move.
hard.
It does move.
But you being a comic, like, doesn't that, you know, you have to think before you say everything. That's not comedy, right? Well, you don't, but you should.
I mean, I think ultimately there's all these comedians who are older, you know, that they say you can't say anything anymore. But I don't really agree with that. I mean, I think you can just don't say a racist slur. It's not that hard. I mean, you can still be inventive and find ways to joke about
Don
subjects.
was an equal opportunity offender.
Yes, he was.
Offended, you know,
he was.
everybody. But it was a honor. It was a badge that you would wear if Don Rickles insulted you.
What was your favorite Don Rickles insult to you?
Oh God! Well, he would. You know, I could watch him work. I knew his act. I knew him. I'd been at dinner with him
You've been doing it for the
1,000
past
times.
hour. Yeah.
And my wife always said, "You're not Rickles, don't you?" But I knew where he was going to. Like, I'd set him up at dinners because we would go to dinner with a lot of people, and I knew what stories they wanted to hear. Don, tell about. Remember when you were on a date? You wanted Frank. You know the famous story. And
the best story ever.
And
best
everybody wants
story.
to hear those stories, and I know all of them. And sometimes it would just naturally grab the setup and go into it. And somebody, what do you? Don't tell me. I know my stories. What do you? Make me look like an old man here. You know. Oh, sorry, Don.
Oh,
he had great stories. He was a lovely man. He smelled great too. I was just thinking.
Rickles smell. He's known for his smell, yeah. But I do have to ask you, by the way, as well, on playing with the Beach Boys, because you're a guy who has, I think, seemingly fulfilled most of his childhood fantasies.
This does it today. Being on air is
What's been the number one highlight of performing with the Beach Boys?
Oh God, it's very hard to say. One of the first big shows I played with was in Washington D.C. at the Monument. There was an afternoon show in Philadelphia. It was 4th of July, 1985. Afternoon show at the Monument. I mean, in Philadelphia, 1 million people. And then we went out to D.C. and it was 750,000 or something. God. And Jimmy Page was playing guitar. And when I got there, I got to the hotel, and my friend said, "Come on, we got to go teach Jimmy the keys we're doing." I said, "Jimmy who?" Go upstairs. Biggest we'd ever seen. I'm looking at Jimmy Page. And my friend, and he had a bottle of Jack Daniels, and he said, I said, "No, can I have a light beer, please, Mr. Page, if you have a..." So he goes off to get that. My friend runs off to look at some guitar. I'm sitting there by myself in the gigantic room anyway. I felt this weird, almost, the air conditioning wasn't on, but it was chilly and weird. And I see this big couch on the other side of the room, and I go and I sit down, I kind of sink in it. Yeah. And I look over there, and there's these anvil cases, two of them, sort of separated. And I said, just when I try to relax, this weird, skinny little girl pops out of in between the two cases. I'm like, she's screaming. What? And she goes back at like a golf cuckoo clock or something. And then I'm like, what the fuck is that? And then Jimmy Page comes out. I go, did you? And he sits there and goes, what keys are we doing the songs? I said, he said, we're doing Bob Moran. I said, F sharp. I can't fucking solo it. She's yelling at me. I said, okay.
Oh my God.
What other songs? I think Help Me Rhonda. What key is that in? C sharp. I can't fucking solo. Oh. So that was a memory. But even just, we played at Stagecoach a couple weeks ago. That music.
Yeah, what was playing at Stagecoach like?
It was like 80,000 people, and they were, they were younger. It was like probably under 50. And from all walks of life. Yeah. Certainly big Republicans, Democrats, everybody. But that music united everybody in a way that I haven't seen happen in a long time.
Really?
It's as if those songs were meant for that moment. And I was just so touched by it. Just to be part of this conduit of this music that people need so badly right now. Wouldn't it be nice? Fun, optimistic.
I think that's what's so amazing about you, though, is you're, like you said, a conduit. And in such a divided world we all live in, where John Stamos lies, at least in my mind and in my heart, but is someone or something that brings us together, whether it's the music you do or the shows you've been a part of. It's all...
I hope so. The research...
Part of bringing us together.
The fact that Full House is still... Like, I think there's... Every 4 years is like a new Full House fan born or something. And it's
amazing how you've been a part of something that Ted Cruz and Timothy Chalamet are probably both fans of.
Yeah, maybe.
Probably.
I didn't think about that.
Yeah, probably.
But you know why? I think I've realized, forever I've been poo-pooing it or trying to figure out why. And then sort of when I wrote the book, I kind of said, I kind of figured it, but I didn't really. I'm driving my kid to school every day, and he wants to watch Full House in the backseat. And when I hear him laughing, and I listen to the show, and I was like, oh my God, some of it's creaky and doesn't, but a lot of it was just love. It's just love. That was the star of the show. And now you look at a show like that, I think and it's like a home cooked meal. It's safe. And
That's
it's
right.
warm, and
It's comfort food.
It's comfort food,
Yeah.
just like you.
Oh, thank you.
What's your goals for this podcast? Like, what do you? And I don't mean like, to have a billion people
Terrible
like
so
it, but
far?
like, no, it's great. But
Oh,
what do
thank
you want people to walk away from after listening to your show?
I think the number one goal with this was I've been having these red carpet interviews,
You're
and I've been
incredible with that.
and I've been doing. I'm living an unusual life, is what I'm
Because
realizing.
you're making it that way. You work you work harder than anybody I've ever seen, and that's why you're so successful at such a young age. You also have something that I'm telling you. I around all these comics. We just talked about them. You have what they have. You have a fearlessness that I hope you never lose. I lost it. I'm trying to get back to it now. But you get on that stage. Watching you in the correspondence dinner was really interesting. I was going to call you about this, Chris. They put you in a very difficult spot. Right? Because you're in the audience and you stand up and you start doing Trump and you're insulting all these people and they're looking around like, who the fuck is this kid? Get him out, and it didn't throw you. I was watching. I know you well enough. I was watching. And he kind of kept going. He did Trump and he realized, oh, I got to bail out of this. Grabs his glasses, goes into his Mitch McConnell and slays him after that.
Yeah.
And then you got him. Most people would wither up and die at that moment and really not know how to pull themselves out of it.
It's like the room couldn't even laugh at the fake Trump.
Right, because they were also because they did sort of like Joe Coy thing for the Golden Globes where he's a great comic. I love him, but nobody knew him in that room.
Yes.
He gets out there and starts insulting these people. But you pulled yourself out of it, and that is a skill that very few people have at your age and the amount of years you've been doing this. So, Mazel tov, as us Jews say.
No, Greeks and Jews, who were very similar
Family
people. What were those yogurt commercials you used to do? What was it called? What was the yogurt called again?
Called $20 million.
Yeah, exactly. Called 20. Woo! Well, we're almost done. I have a couple more things for you.
Where am I going to go?
I do have to ask you, and thank you for the kind words. I wish I could say the same about you. But I do have to ask you, what is... We're in a society now. Everybody's like, "Oh, recognize your privilege," which is very important and true. What is the worst part of being this level of fame?
Nothing. At this point, I'd say. I mean, I don't know that. First of all, I'm not like that famous. I want to be able to do good work, and I'm being.
You're a Step Brothers reference, John. You're that famous.
Well, that I don't get these references. There's about 20 of them. Like, I'll be watching something like, did they just say my name? And I asked some writer friends, like, why me? Like, are they making fun of me? It's like, no, you're like a go-to.
Yeah.
There's so many other people they could use, but the Step Brothers thing was funny. I remember asking Will about that. He thought I was upset about it. He said, I didn't write it. So-and-so wrote it. I said, no, it was great.
But fame.
Nothing. Well, I love it. I love people. During the pandemic, I was really down, as a lot of people were, obviously. And people had a horrible time. But what I'm saying was I couldn't feed off people's faces and their joy and their, even just seeing people during the day, like just covered up. And I'm always wrong. Like you had a picture of what they would look like.
Yep.
And they take it off. Oh, no, that was not. But I feed off energy of people, and it makes me happy. And there's been times have been very rough throughout my life and career. And, a lot of close friends died. And, people say things. That's the other thing. Didn't I send you the other day? I go, gotta stop reading. Don't waste your time with these fucking comments and these bullshit,
I think it was referenced to when I was on stage. You came to my show, and then maybe there were some moments where I was talking about the crowd quality or whatever, and your advice to me was, don't talk negative about any crowd. Just do your material. They came to see you. They paid to see you.
Yeah.
Do your stuff. They want to see you.
You were great that night, but it was a rough crowd, right?
Yeah,
Although,
but this is me learning, I think,
Of course. How long have you been doing stand-up? A couple of years now?
Yeah. But to circle back to why I want to do this podcast, it's because I realize how crazy it is, everything I'm doing. Like, even just getting to hang out with you, to talk to you, to learn from you. And I think one of my strengths that I feel is being able to learn from people like you, and hopefully to put them in positions of that are comfortable, and then to generate really funny viral moments and go crazy.
So wait, you're saying that your goal is to suck
your
blood?
cock. Yeah. You know what I want to do? I want to do the Drew Barrymore thing. So John,
we got on the floor one time.
Oh, should we reenact that? So John,
go ahead, Drew. Sit on the floor.
John, you mean a lot to me.
What is this?
You mean a lot to me,
tooth,
John.
Big tooth.
You mean so much.
Yeah.
Your show was everything
Thank
to
you.
me. John.
Yeah.
Are you aware of the impact that you've had on this country and upcoming actors?
Hey, you wish you were Drew Barrymore.
Okay.
So you want to learn from us? You're
I
saying
want to learn from you. I want to look. I love late night TV. I think I'm kind of a throwback, a little bit of a personality, and I think that's why I love you so much. And I think we relate. We love the Sinatra, the old showbiz. I want to bring kind of like a TV polished quality to how I've come up with it, which is social media, Generation Z, TikTok, Instagram, Snapchat.
You work
I feel
so
it's important
hard.
to have quality
you have
conversation.
a mind too that's pretty brilliant. I want to say, like one day he was over making pizza, and he goes through the whole Music Man. Do a little bit of Music Man, and we'll put people to sleep. Hopefully, you're not driving. Go ahead.
Are you
No,
Mr.
I'm kidding.
Dunlap?
Watch this.
Are you Mr. Dunlap? Say yes.
Yeah.
Well, either you're closing your eyes to a situation you do not wish to acknowledge, or you're not aware of the caliber of disaster indicated by the presence of a pool table in your community.
Trump.
Well, you got trouble, my friend. Right here, I say trouble right here in River City. Why, sure, my bitter player is certainly mighty proud to say I'm always mighty proud to say it. I consider that the hours I spend with the cue in my hand are golden. Helps cultivate horse sense and a cool eye and a keen eye. So every day you try to give an outlet leave yourself from a 3-round billiard shot. But just as I say, it takes judgment, brains, maturity to score in a balk line game. I say that any boob can take and shove a ball in a pocket, and they call that sloth. The first big step on the road to the depths of degradé, I say first. But instead of wine from a teaspoon,
John
then
Stamos.
beer from a bottle, and the next thing you know, your son is playing for money in a pinchback suit. And listen, tell about a horse race game. Not a wholesome trot race, no, but a race where they sat down right on the horse. I'd like to see some stuck-up jockey who sitting on Dan Patch. Make it like boy what I should say. Now, friends, let me tell you what I made. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pockets in a table. Pockets that mark the difference between a gentleman and a bum with a capital B, and that rhymes with P, and that stands for pool. And all week long, your River City youth will be frittering away and say, your young men will be frittering away there. Noontime, summertime, short time, too. Never mind getting dandelions, pull to the patch, sleep under the beefsteak pounded, and bragging all about how you're going to cover up a telltale breath with sense. And one fine night, then leave the pool all heading for the dance of the armory. Libertine men and scarlet women and ragtime, shameless music. Well, look out here, son. Your daughter with the arms of a jungle, animal instinct, mass hysteria, friends, the idle brain is the devil's playground trouble. Oh, we got trouble. We're in terrible, terrible trouble.
I never heard of your voice. That's great.
Look, I shouldn't have gone on that long. I forget.
But this is brilliant.
Oh, stop.
And you don't do
the
that on
comments. He made it all about himself. You have John Stamos on. He made it all about himself.
Who?
I'm just reading the comments in my head.
What's your favorite new impression you do?
Me pretending to care during this podcast.
Okay.
No. I would say my
You're
favorite.
fast.
Oh, Dimitri.
Dimitri who?
He's a friend of mine, John
Oh,
Stamos.
Dimitri.
Friend of mine.
You know, from nobody knows it.
There's a guy named Dimitri who's kind of a legend.
Thank you, Mr. Charlie. He's a friend of mine.
How do you know him?
Yeah, Dimitri, a friend.
He's the manager of a
I know
club
who he
here
is.
in LA.
Maitre d', yeah.
He's a maitre d' of this place here in LA.
Yes.
And
He has many friends. John Stamos here, a friend of mine. No.
but the impression I'm working on, I was working on Cillian Murphy throughout award season.
Yeah.
Cillian Murphy, very subtle. I'm an actor.
Yeah.
I don't want to be famous.
Yeah.
I don't want fame. I don't want it.
Who else? You tried Howie. We went over to Howie's house
Deal
one day.
or no deal.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
You know, John, when we opened for Diana Ross years ago at the start of our career, I was very nervous. I didn't have any material
Who's your
at
hardest? Who's your hardest impression to do?
all. See, you're flipping the interview on me, John.
Well, you've talked about. I'm done with telling
My hardest
stories.
impression to do, I would say, the Obama, I really have to contort my neck. Paul Giamatti is very fun. I was doing a bit on stage, which is that I'm starting to get recognized by some people now because of my Instagram videos.
Yeah,
exactly.
kidding.
With you. And sometimes it happens at very bad moments.
Right.
The other day, my cousin had a seizure. He's shaking uncontrollably on the sidewalk. I think help is on the way. A woman runs toward us. I think it's a nurse or a doctor. And I'm like, oh my God, you're going to save the day. Cousin's foaming at the mouth. And then she says, I love your Paul Giamatti impression. And I said, you know what, ma'am? That is very inappropriate.
So how do you find these people on the streets? Do you know that they're going to walk like Andy Cohen, for instance? Do you know? Did you
Well, just
attack
like
him?
living in New York. No, I would just see people, and I wouldn't ambush them.
You didn't
but
know where Andy Cohen
no, I
was
was
going?
I was
Like,
walking
just
down the
happened to see him?
sidewalk, and I ran into him.
Did you
and
have his impression already?
I did, yeah. And then he goes,
How did it
"You're
go?
the guy who does me, right?"
Yeah.
And then I said, I do. And then he said, let's do a little vidski. And then we did it. And I said, what do you think of this impression? And he just goes, I don't have a problem with it. You're young, funny, and cute. Yeah. But
But
it
you also
depends.
have great material for each character.
Thank you.
Where do you get that? From watching them on TV or listening to stuff?
Just from studying John
And you
Stamos'
remember.
talk show appearances,
No,
I guess.
seriously. And what about me? This
Okay,
is your
good.
show.
It's
I get
okay,
it, but
good.
this is the first show. People need to
I
learn
agree.
about you.
I agree. You're right.
You say I'm a mentor and paying it forward. I want to set you up here.
Yes, please.
Who's your, like you saw Letterman on the street? You saw,
Yes.
who else?
Obviously, Letterman, John Oliver,
Ted Bundy.
Ted Bundy, yeah,
was one,
George Santos.
Right. Oh, did you see George Santos?
I ran into him. I ambushed him.
Did you do him?
Yeah, I didn't really do him. He would like me to do him, probably, but
See, when I was a kid, I thought I wanted to do
it's
impressions
the nature of
too.
living in New York. I mean, I just see people in LA. They're all bundled up in their home.
Yeah, good.
You got to get to know them first on Grindr, and then they'll invite you over.
Right.
But in New York, you can just see them on the sidewalk.
Poor Steve Buscemi gets punched
I know,
out there.
I know.
It's a fucking band like this.
Were there any like early celebrity interactions that were particularly humorous for you?
I met Henry Winkler early on. I was on General Hospital, and I'll never forget it. He was the Fonz was like Travolta, like, and he said, and I went to him. I said, "Oh my God, so nice to meet you." He said, "It's nice to meet you." And he didn't look around like you do. He was straight in the eyes, and it was like this moment.
Cameras, John.
Oh, this moment, like I'm never gonna forget that, and I'm always gonna. Yeah, see, but he was a great one too. I didn't have a lot of, but wait,
I have a question for you.
I used to watch Rich Little.
Yeah.
And so, did you ever learn how to do impressions by watching
I
impressionists?
saw Rich Little actually in Vegas a couple years ago. He comes out, "I'm still alive."
Yeah.
His whole act is dead.
Right.
He's a big Republican now.
Yeah.
But
What's
I did.
Trump sound like?
I learned how to do Howard kind of by watching Bill Hader do Alan Alda.
There you go.
Alan Alda's up here, right?
Yeah.
Then Howard's down here, right?
When did you know you could do Howard? Like just
I
one
just started
day?
doing it in my dorm room, actually. And speaking of how I was doing it for a long time.
Mhm.
But speaking of what does Howard Stern mean to you?
Well, he's the greatest. I always tell him too. It's like, who's the best actor? Well, you could probably name 5 of the greatest of all time.
Yes.
Right? Who's the best actors? Who's the best DJ? Who's the best interviewer? He's the number one. There's no question.
He is the
nobody
goat.
like that.
He's the goat. And it was funny. I thought I was getting a little worried that he thought I was like stalking his closest people, like you
Who
or
else?
Billy Joel, because I did a video with Billy Joel.
Right.
And it looks like I'm ambushing Billy Joel.
You are. I
Even
saw
though
that.
I was invited to the concert.
By who?
By his daughter, right? Who I love, Alexa. Fantastic.
You know a lot of people.
But the truth is, Howard means a lot to me.
Yeah,
I
why?
love him
Yeah.
because I don't know. I think A, the quality of the interviews. B, what he's done for comedy. Absolutely hysterical.
But he's like you in the sense that he's all to this day too works so hard.
He's
he
an
doesn't
animal.
ever phone anything in.
No,
he's so well informed.
And you can hear it if you really listen to the full interviews.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I think it's kind of like a Hannah Montana thing where there's like 2 sides of him. There's the side of he has the whack pack and he does like very insane bits, and then he has,
People
an
complain
hour and a half
too.
long
It's like,
Stamos interview.
excuse me, he's grown immensely. From Bongo Fiesta to Biden, interviewing Biden. I thought that was very brave.
Amazing.
Because I know half of his audience probably was not into
Right.
it. And I think he felt to do his duty. For the longest time, he didn't say one word about Trump. And Trump was, bashing free speech. You'd think that he would have gone after him, and he didn't. I think he was holding back, but now he's just speaking the truth, his truth.
Well, before we go,
I do want to ask you one thing, John.
Yes.
Which is this, okay? I've said many times that when you're a star, they let you do anything, John.
Yeah.
You can do a lot of different things.
Yeah.
But I was just wondering, John, you're one of the great actors. You're a very smart guy. I actually wrote Full House, the first episode. I created it. My idea for to do that. But, John, would you donate to me, please? Would you like to donate?
No.
Great.
Great.
Thank you very much.
That's the question.
that's the question.
I wish you all the luck in the world.
Well,
And I'm going to speak for all the greatness that I've been around, lucky enough to be part of. You have it. You got it. Just keep it. Be a good person. My dad treated everybody the same. He had restaurants. The busboy, he'd treat the same as his best customer. That's what you got to do. You already have it. Be kind. Be loving. Don't say shitty stuff about people. Just be the good man that you are.
Well, I just want to
Fuck off.
fuck off. Yeah, I have to say before we wrap up, thank you so much. Truly, it's an honor every time I get to see you. I'm always worried it's going to be the last time.
Why not die?
No, because it's not that you're going to die, but that I'm going to just be blocked from your contact
Well, that's
list.
coming. Yeah.
No,
that's coming.
but no,
I love introducing you to people. Everybody loves you. And
should we
you
just
know.
make out? No,
No.
I'm enormously grateful, though, honestly. And people don't understand because they get to see this super famous person, but they don't understand how generous you are with your time. And like, you didn't have to invite me over to your house and give me all this advice and come on this show and drive here and put the suit on.
Could have been a little nicer. Put worn a tie.
No, but honestly, I'm enormously grateful, and you get all the credit. And thank you so much for being here, and getting to chat with you and learn from you was awesome. So thank you.
Thank you. I wish you all the luck with this podcast. I think it's great. People need to hear you. I love this format for you because stand-up is good. You're good, you know, but your voice is good. But when you combine it like this, it's perfect.
Well, everybody, John Stamos on Friend and High Places. John Stamos, everybody.
Thank you.
And John, really quick, before we go, anything you want to plug? Where can people see you? You have your book.
I just did a season on this incredible show called Unprisoned with Kerry Washington and Delroy Lindo. I'm really proud of it.
Is that the Lori Loughlin story?
No, that's not even close.
Sorry, yeah. Unprisoned.
Unprisoned. Oh, I get it.
Yeah, thank you.
Right. No.
Yeah, okay.
It's a great show. It's on Hulu. That starts pretty soon.
Rick Singer is our next guest. So. We'll got it.
Where is he? We're going to go to jail.
I don't know. All right.
Be kind.
Thank you, John. Thank you.